Marion County School Board is now reconvening at 2:02 p.m. from our morning session. We're going to be back in the hands of Ms. Jarrow, who is on Zoom.
Good afternoon. Welcome back.
Good afternoon.
So, Reverend Cummings, I believe we're to the point now where you should have a copy of the matrix that you could pass out to each board member first.
Okay.
And this will be real simple since we're just looking at two candidates. We simply want to record your personal opinion first prior to discussion. So all I need to do when he passes that out, write your initials on the paper. You only have to circle one or two, candidate one or two, and then take a picture and send it to Ryan, just like what you see written on the instructions on your sheet.
So we don't write anything at the top or anything, we just circle.
Initial and circle.
Circle one number and make sure you put your initials so we can see that and take a picture to send to Ryan right now. And then I don't think, Reverend Cummings, it's going to take us more than probably 3 minutes or so just for us to get it. And I think what worked best with Elena the last time is I sent it to the master copy I sent to your phone, and she was able to make a copy from that, correct?
Yeah, Elena's not here. We have Nicole, who's here.
Okay, so do you want me to send it to your phone still, or
Yeah,
Nicole?
you can send it to my phone. I can forward it to Nicole.
Perfect. So I'm going to mute on my phone here, and then we'll collect these as they're coming into Mr. Ray.
And we're sending this to you?
It's on the phone.
No, the number right there on the matrix,
Phone number is
314-495-8114.
Gotcha.
He's my data collection point.
Okay.
Okay, I've got 3 so far.
Mine just sent.
Did you receive them all?
Yes, I did. I'm just tallying it up.
And then you're going to take a picture and send it back to Reverend Cummings so that he can have Nicole make copies for discussion purposes.
Okay.
So Reverend Cummings, once you get it, you can give it to Nicole so she can make a copy for discussion purposes.
Okay.
I'm sending this to Reverend Cummings. Okay.
Correct.
And let's see. And Reverend, your last 4 digits as far as your phone number.
6871.
All right. Okay. It should have been sent.
Did you put the area code and everything in there? I haven't gotten it yet.
You might have to step outside.
No, I'm getting Texas. I'm getting a lot of Texas.
They're like, who is it?
Got it.
You got it.
Got it.
You got it now?
I got it. I'm calling from the email. I'm putting send it to you in the email. Yeah. Yes.
Did you get what you need, Reverend Cummings? Did it come through?
Yes, I got it.
Perfect. So we'll just wait until everybody gets their copies.
I'll pass them down.
So you're passing back a copy for each person, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is your starting point as far as discussion. This isn't necessarily set in stone or a final decision. This is just meant for you to go ahead and have a starting point for discussion.
Thank you, guys. Everybody see what I'm looking at, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, according to this matrix that was given to us, Dr. Gullett is 3, and then Dr. Morrison is 2. So, ranking them accordingly, Dr. Gullett would be the 1, and Dr. Morrison would be 2. So, I'd like to hear your conversation on these 2 candidates.
Can I comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, the reason that I would support Dr. Morrison is because he has been a superintendent. He has walked the walk. Our district is in such, plus he's walked the walk in the private arena. I believe we are a very unstable district, and I believe that Dr. Gullett will someday make a very, very good superintendent, but in a district that doesn't have the problems that we have. I liked Dr. Morrison because he's not someone who thinks he can be a superintendent and wants to try. He has a proven track record. My heart is also with him in that he has a special place for the African community, the African American community, with those who are the forgotten children. And I've looked into his districts, and I've done a lot of background look over the last few days, and the achievement in those areas were impressive. And plus, he's increased retention in all areas that he's been. He's worked with an elected board more than once, and Dr. Gollett has never worked with an elected board firsthand. She would be learning on the job how to be a superintendent, but Dr. Morrison has done the job. And as far as the concerns that happened at the end of his time in another district, it was only for a short time. It was just a 2-week short window that there wasn't any kind of issue. And when the board attorney goes against you in an area and makes accusations, it's hard to go fight for your name when you're working against an attorney, because attorneys don't really play fair. That's not their role. Their role is to win, not necessarily play fair. And so that was the only taint on his entire career. He was principal of the year. He was superintendent of the year in a state. He was superintendent of the year in the nation. And there's only one negative comment made about him in the history that I could find out in the history of his time as a superintendent. I believe our district is too broken for someone to come in that wants to do the job and is a great candidate. She thinks she can, and she wants to try. I believe it's time for someone that has absolutely done the job. I liked the way he talked about, we had a good interview when we spoke. I liked what he talked about retention and not moving children forward just because they were old enough. I liked his answer to that question the best. And I liked some other answers that he gave me. So those are my reasons for wanting to bring someone in that's done the job, has improved achievement everywhere he's gone, and he's earned national accolades for that. So that's why I voted for him.
Thank you, Ms. Stacy. Anybody else? Beth?
I think Diane Gollett is the stronger candidate for Marion County. I think she's a better fit for Marion County. I think Dr. Morrison has an outstanding record. He is an excellent superintendent. I asked Dr. Gollett the question why she has not been a superintendent before, and does she feel she's ready? And she said she is absolutely ready. She has been ready for a long time. The right job has just not come up. What she called her match had not come up, and she said, I don't believe she's applied anywhere else before. She tells me that her mentors, including Dr. Barbara Jenkins in Orange County, who I think is one of the best superintendents in the state of Florida, if not nationally, thinks she is ready. I kind of took a different turn on my call and asked both Dr. Morrison and Dr. Gollett the same question about where we are right now with COVID-19, and I asked them, if you were here in Marion County, what would you have done? And he had really good answers, but she's in Nevada with boots on the ground, and her plan, the plan that they have put together, that she was instrumental in putting together for what their students are doing now, is an incredibly sound plan. And I was very impressed with the leadership that she showed in that plan. I love her calm, strong leadership style. I think she can come into our community. that she can begin to build trust among all the stakeholders. I like very much that she was instrumental in putting the first community school together in Orange County. We are going to the community school model. We have one coming up, and she has the experience to do that. I think that she is capable. I think that she's more than ready to be a superintendent. I liked everything that she talked about in her interview, but also on my phone call with her, and I am very strongly supporting Dr. Gullett.
Thank you, Ms. McCall. Ladies, Ms. Thorne, Ms. King.
I'll speak. I agree. We had two very great candidates, and it was torn. I was very torn, and deeply in prayer also. I did select Dr. Morrison because of his experience. He has been a superintendent. He has been recognized as the national superintendent. When he was talking, he discussed how he has even worked through a recession, and COVID-19 has been brought up. And as it's good that she's there and has a plan, we don't ever build a home in the middle of a storm, and COVID-19 right now is a storm. We're just getting through it. We're going to build you build your home after the storm. And so for me just to base an idea of something that's happening then, because Dr. Morrison also, he has, like I said, he has experience with a recession. He talked about the budget, how they made through that, and I know that is coming our way, and that's also a big concern of ours. In the classroom, he knows how to and has experience with the achievement gaps, as Dr. Gullett did also. But he also discussed in the classroom when it was discussed about safety. And one of the things that he talked about is sometimes in the classroom and in the safety environment, he addressed the social and emotional learning that our classroom needs. And he just had a lot of ideas. He talked about sometimes, there's people are in the wrong seats on the bus. I mean, he seemed to have a lot of knowledge and being a superintendent. As I believe Dr. Gullett will do fine. I love that she is, I like talking to her. It's like my friend almost, and she does. And I think she'll bring calmness, which our community needs. But not only do we need someone that is very calm and problem solving, but we need someone that can also get us to the next level so that we can be, not in the bottom of the state. I would like to see us perform better. And I think at this point, Dr. Morrison has proven that he can do it. Not that Dr. Gullett can't do it. I'm just saying that he has proven he has that experience. He did have that in the paper. Something happened between them and that board, but he does have 30 years of experience in education. And unfortunately, sometimes, there's a little bit of, conflict or turmoil that happens, but I'm not sure that's a reason not to have the national, not even the state of Florida, and someone that we may think should be national, as was mentioned earlier, but we actually have the national 2012 superintendent wanting to come to Marion County to show us some good leadership, and that's where I stood with that. So those were my thoughts. And also, he knows the law. He talked about the law a lot, and that's extremely important also. So that's where I stand.
Thank you, Ms. King. Ms. Thoreau?
Two very well-presented candidates we met and spoke with today. Each have many strengths. However, I'm just not ready to decide based on two candidates. I had envisioned interviewing more than that to do justice to the search and for my own due diligence. So that's where I am.
And I have to agree with Ms. Thrower. They were two excellent candidates, two very good candidates. They both presented very well. Their interviews were excellent. I leaned more towards Dr. Gullett, and I'll tell you why I lean more toward Dr. Gullett. This district has been kind of in an upheaval for several years, and the person that comes in needs to be able to come in and stabilize the district. And I don't think, don't personally hold anything against Dr. Morrison, but I think that when you bring a candidate in and some of the same adjectives are used that are currently being used, it puts people in limbo. It puts our staff in a it's almost like re-injuring them again and making them think that they're getting set up for the same thing. So I'm more inclined to look at some other candidates as well as continue to keep them, but I think we need to a little bit have more in the pool to look at before we go forward with this decision.
I'd like to comment about what you said about the adjectives. That was an issue that came up, and it had a 2-week window of time that it happened in. It was a very short window. And nowhere else could I find anything that, any article or anywhere. And I mean, I'm walking living proof that there's not been any uglier adjectives to say than what's been in the paper about me. And I'd hate to know that my character and my value and my worth is based upon what Joe Callahan wrote or Brad Rogers wrote in the newspaper, who strictly have just political differences from me. And when you come into a school district, you tend to, the local newspaper kind of backs the people that were kind of there beforehand, because that's the people that are their informants in the district and give them information. So for the superintendent to come in and then be opposing legal counsel's, some of the legal counsel's issues, from what I understand, also legal counsel wanted to give legal counsel a raise, where he said we now have a freeze on teaching salaries, and we're not going to give the legal counsel a raise. And so this was legal counsel that has had a lot of say in that district for many, many years, and the food fight began because he apparently challenged some people that had been there a long time. And so later there was another article that came out that someone sent to me that I don't even have with me right now, that said basically maybe that things were kind of stated that wasn't necessarily true. And it came back from that same newspaper, that same newspaper later. So when you're going to get into a food fight, you don't want to get in a food fight with an attorney that represents the board, because you're not going to win. And the time is to walk away when you know that you're about to enter an arena that historically is not based upon fairness, it's based upon who can say the most about the other one until the money runs out. And so I thought Dr. Gullett was a wonderful educator. I like the idea, though, of bringing in someone that has been outside of Florida for a period of time and has established roots in different areas. I think you learn your lessons as you move along as a superintendent. You learn a lot, and then going into private practice, the private sector, you learn a lot. And this man, to have had all the things that principal of the year, principal of the state, superintendent of the state, superintendent of the year, you don't get that far where just like 6 adjectives in a newspaper at the end of a 2-week period in a district describes you. And like I said, I would hate to know that something that a newspaper reporter just happened to print about any of us tainted our character and damaged the person that we've been for 30 years, a man that has won the top achievement. We know that the superintendent in Dade County, he was also superintendent of the year in the nation. A year or so right behind or in front of Dr. Morrison. And he's done phenomenal things in Dade County with, English learners, as English as a second language, and many things. And anyone who knows me knows that my heart is with the low-achieving student, and my heart is with the minority community, because for so many years, since the day of busing, those children were, they no longer sat in the back of the bus, but they were put in the front of the bus to be hauled to school sites way across town, over and over and over, and put into the area where their parents couldn't reach, where you wouldn't do that to people in 8th Street Elementary or the parents that live downtown. And I'm sorry, we have a serious achievement gap here, serious. This man has a proven record. That is how he became Superintendent of the Year of the nation, as the same way the Dade County Superintendent did, for closing the achievement gap on the minority students. And this is one opportunity in a lifetime for this district to, for once, stop, look at the evidence. He was hired, he was in a large district out in Nevada, and then he came back and he was in a large district in Charlotte, and then he went on, was hired by a book company where he's been there for 5 years so he has the experience and the growth. This man has 30 years of experience at closing the achievement gap. I'm not bringing someone, I am not supportive, I'm not supporting bringing someone here just to make everybody heal and feel good. I want that to be a part of it, but I want proficiency to improve. And that is what it's about to me, is results, achievement, and to pass up an opportunity of a lifetime. I mean, this man, that would be like the Dade County Superintendent coming up here. We have the National Superintendent of the Year willing to come here, and we're looking at 5 adjectives that a newspaper reporter wrote about him the last 2 weeks of his career in Charlotte. Excuse me. I think it is time. Our district is so unstable and is so far gone in so many ways that I believe we need someone with a proven, and I say proven, track record, not someone we want to just give a chance to. We will never have a chance like this to bring someone in here qualified to improve the achievement gap like we have right now. And this is a chance of a lifetime for Marion County. Thank you.
Yeah. And I just also want to add that I believe there is, I want to say 3, but I'm going to say 2 to 3. There have been 2 to 3 superintendents since Dr. Morrison, since then. So that tells me there might be something else going on there. Again, I agree with Ms. Stacy. This is a once in,
the history of this country, this state,
well,
this county.
In the county, but we have a national, he's been a principal of the year, he's been the state, and now he is the national superintendent. He has the background experience. Yes, a paper there was something that happened, but he talked about that. He fell off the magic carpet or whatever it was, but he's getting back into the game. And there's lessons to be learned for all of us. And one thing I think this board has forgotten also, we are now having an appointed superintendent. And if any superintendent, and I don't care who it is, if they come in and treat our employees the way they have been, there's not any waiting for 4 years, there's not waiting 2 years, there's not attorney thing, we fire them. So that whoever comes in is going to know that we will not tolerate that. So why we would not hire a national superintendent because we're afraid of how people may or may not, we're not even sure, let's not lose sight that as a board, we're doing the hiring and firing, and we won't tolerate that. And I think experience is extremely important. He's proven himself. If we don't choose the national superintendent of the year to come to Marion County just because we want our employees and everyone to feel good, but we don't want to go to the next level to be number one in the state, then it's almost like shame on us because we had our chance and we're saying no. And I probably have nothing else to say other than that. So.
Well, I think that Dr. Gullett definitely has the instructional knowledge, the leadership skills, the capability to take us to the next level. I think she's a great fit for our community and for our school system. She has done some phenomenal things with F schools, taking them to A schools. Again, she is ready to be a superintendent. She probably could have already been a superintendent. She chose to go to Nevada to be with that very large school system. She's learned a lot there. They have 8,000 square miles, and they've learned an awful lot there on children that are the minorities there that don't have digital capabilities. She's done a tremendous work there, and I think she's a fabulous fit for our community. And again, I love her calm, strong leadership, and I think she has the ability to absolutely take us to the next level. And I think Dr. Morrison is a fabulous superintendent. There's absolutely no doubt. We have two stellar candidates. Here's my concern, that if we wait, we will lose them both to other jobs. And that is, I think, a real concern.
And I agree that Dr. Gullett has a nice personality, but she only has 2 years experience as a deputy superintendent. I don't even know if it's 2 full years, 2 years. The district that Dr. Morrison left, Karma kind of takes care of things because there's been multiple placements since, and he's been at his job continually for the last 5 years, while other superintendents have paraded through that county and apparently on with some of the same issues. So it sounds like if you don't march to whoever's running that show there, and I truly believe it's the legal department, then you are out. And so he kept his job for 5 years, but no superintendent has been there for 5 years since he left. And so I think that speaks a lot for what the real problem was there. But to bring someone is as much as we convince this county that we're going to bring someone experienced, and we started out, we really wanted someone in a perfect world that had superintendent experience and had some private sector experience. We kind of looked, and he's like everything in a package. And years of being a superintendent, and you can find one little newspaper reporter that took the side of the naysayer against him, but yet the district's been a disaster ever since he left. So I don't think we need to bring in other people, because I think that one's going to go to one place in the state of Florida that's doing a search right now, somebody's going to go to another place, and we're going to lose them both. But to sit here, and we all know that the superintendent of Dade County is like, he's so what you have to prove yourself to be the national superintendent of the year. And we're sitting here questioning Dr. Morrison because of a few adjectives that a newspaper reporter wrote about him in a district that has remained unstable ever since he left.
Stacy, that has nothing to do with my decision.
Well, you talk about COVID, but you talk about the COVID response. He hasn't even had an opportunity to put a plan in place for COVID. COVID is something that's like right now. Every district's done a different thing for COVID, and we're assuming that someone we don't.
So that was one of the things that Dr. Gullett impressed me with, was just one of them, that the plan.
It's happened in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, it's a stellar plan, what they're doing, because they planned ahead when they saw it coming. So I'm impressed.
Somebody
with that.
planned
I'm
ahead.
very impressed with her leadership skills. I'm impressed with what she has done with curriculum. I'm impressed with the community school concept. She has been a area superintendent right under the superintendent in Orange County, and now she's in Nevada in a 300,000 school system. So her qualifications are definitely there. And my choice had nothing to do with Dr. Morrison's problems. I did my own research on that. I was very comfortable with him being one of our candidates. I just feel she's a better fit for our community and for our school system.
And I too, because she keeps saying the 6 adjectives, I did say the adjectives. And I talked to him and I explained to him that personally I didn't have an issue because I saw the same thing that you did. I went back and did the research and saw that since he's left, they've had 3 superintendents. So that tells me that there's some issues within that district as well. However, we keep talking about him, his accolades. We keep talking about him being a national principal and state principal, state superintendent, national superintendent. Don't get starstruck based on somebody's accolades. We have to look at what's going to be the good fit for Marion County. Yes, it's an opportunity to get the national superintendent of the year in Marion County, but that's not what we were put in this office to do. We were put in this office to get the best person that fits Marion County, and if that means that we have to look at these 2, I don't see the harm in going one more week and hearing the next 3 candidates, interviewing the next 3 candidates. I don't think we're going to lose those 2 in a week's time.
I think we will.
I don't agree
disagree.
with that.
I don't agree.
I think these are both very great candidates, and I am comfortable choosing
And when
today.
I look at our level 1s and the percentage we are in the state at level 1s, we're probably, in our elementary schools, I think we're like first place at the number of level 1s in the state. We have a huge achievement gap, and I believe that
we keep victimizing the people of Marion County and the staff and the students because and I'm again
we have a huge achievement gap, not because of the staff, but because of many years of leadership issues here. Not just 3 years, but 4 years before that. So this is our district. They're ready to perform. They're ready to be number 1. And I believe we should bring the person that's done the job before more than once and has proven his passion for the low achieving children. That's based upon actually what his accolades were based upon was his ability to help the lowest achieving students and bring them forward and close the achievement gap. I believe the biggest problem we have in Marion County, we have students at the top. We have so many children at the lower level, and the achievement gap is so wide. And as a school board member, proficiency, bringing the students up so that they can have a future academically is the most important thing I'm here to do, is to give them an opportunity, the best opportunity that I know of. And this man has done it not once, but has done it twice. And I'm not starstruck. He has a proven record, is the reason he received those accolades. Proven. He's not going to learn superintendent on the job. He's already done it so successfully that he was nationally recognized, state recognized, was even a great principal of the year in the state. So, those are just bonuses that give proof to the fact that he has done it. And you know what? And if I mean, I love bringing someone here that's, I mean, she's been a deputy for 2 years. That's good. She's not advanced to superintendent yet, but she's, you know, she thinks she can, and she wants to try. I want someone here that knows they can and has done it before. Thank
So
you.
what I'm hearing is that we're kind of at a stalemate.
Well, here's what I know about superintendents. This will be my 5th one. And strong superintendents are warriors. They're not going to take one interview and take their talents somewhere else. And if they do, that's a commentary. We are appointing a superintendent for the very first time in this county, and I want to make certain that we get this right. I want to make certain that we do justice to the process. I like the idea of making sure that we've cast a wide enough net, and then let's use COVID-19 to our advantage in some way. With our top candidates, we could do a virtual town hall, which could be really cool. We did something similar to that for the superintendent election a couple of superintendents ago, and it was moderated by Nancy Noonan, as a matter of fact. The questions were relevant. The audience was incredibly well behaved, and everybody was able to participate in person. But this way, it could be done online. We have captured lightning in a bottle. We've got the community's attention. We're getting their feedback. We have their support. And I have a sense of urgency, but I don't have a sense of hurry to get this done today. And I've made it very clear that both candidates, very strong. However, for the reasons I just stated, I'm ready to interview a few more.
If I may interrupt, sorry, I just want to go ahead and state that if you go ahead and wait, our experience as a firm that's been in business for 45 years, our experience is that you will lose and you will risk losing these two candidates. As your consultant, Sandy and I need to go ahead and tell you that because I've seen it done in the past, and I'm just letting you know.
How many districts have only interviewed 2 candidates and then made a decision that day? We are under pretty unprecedented circumstances here for many reasons.
We've already had one candidate drop out.
Did you hear me?
I didn't completely hear. One possible suggestion, Ms. Thrower, to add on to what you said is maybe if I'm hearing solid comments about both candidates from all 5 of you, maybe that wider community input or that forum, the virtual forum, could be for both. That's just something for discussion.
Because I do agree that both candidates are very strong, bring their own talents to the table in multiple ways. And you may be onto something, Sandy, because that would be a way for the community to provide their input in very neutral, professional terms and feel like they've had the opportunity to weigh in, considering then we would only be looking at 2 candidates. That's something that I think I could get behind.
And the CEP has agreed to host a forum like that for us. I asked that question this morning.
I would be interested in something that's doing something like that if that's what we're going to do.
And again, you know, these 2 candidates, they've been battle tested. They are warriors, and we want them to have the opportunity to share for themselves what we've been able to hear today, not only publicly, but also in our private phone calls. And I think that'll go a long way towards making sure that the community feels like they've been heard and that We are all ready, which is so important, this very first appointed superintendent to come in with the confidence. I want to see unanimous, if possible, with all 5 of us. And then let's just take it to the goal line.
We're not unanimous.
We're not even unanimous on that.
Yeah, I was like, we're not.
Well, I'd like to get to that point is what I'm saying, because we're clearly not unanimous now.
Well, it looks like we're very indecisive, and
I'm not indecisive.
we were hired to make decisions. This is a republic. This is not where.
So I hear what you're saying.
We're gonna
I hear
lose them.
exactly what you're saying. I hear exactly what everybody's saying. But again, we have been charged to make a very important decision. I remember when we first started this process, Ms. McCall said, we need to make sure we get it right the first time. I remember seeing each and every one of your faces echoing that same sentiment, that we need to make sure we get it right the first time. Why is it we have to be in such a rush
Because we're
today?
gonna lose
Why is it that we have to be in such a rush today that we have to make such a decision without making sure that we have everything that we need to make the best decision for this district? If we don't have a unanimous decision, it will be fine, but we need to make sure that we've done the due diligence. I think the suggestion that Ms. Gerald just gave us, that Ms. McCall and Ms. Thor are saying, I think that is a very sensible solution to where we are right now, and that we can get that done in the next couple of days with the 2 candidates, with those 2 candidates, and then make a decision. I don't think that we're going to lose those 2 candidates.
Days, Kim. We don't have
We
to
just did this in a couple of
We
days.
don't have to
CEP host, if the CEP hosts the forum, it doesn't have to be advertised. It's their forum.
Correct.
Am I correct, Mrs. Green?
Y'all aren't participating in the town hall.
Correct.
And if we're willing to have that much community input, the business community come in saying that they're willing to do a town hall for the 2 candidates, why not? It's not costing us anything but a couple of days. And then come back next week and come right back here, do this again, and make a decision.
That would reassure the candidates, too, going by what 45 years of experience is telling us, that they are the only 2 contenders, and that this will be our last step. Once this is done, then we'll be making a decision between one of them. And hopefully that will reassure them, because we don't want to lose them.
Neither candidate, both candidates are, again, stellar candidates. Stellar candidates. I just want us to pick the right person for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons. And I think that if I'm hearing three people saying that we should do the forum. Am I hearing that correctly?
Well, I think one of the candidates has a job offer in Arizona.
Not yet. Not yet.
I'm confident with my decision. I've done my research. We've known about this for almost 2 weeks.
And
And I'm confident with my decision, but we have
Right.
2 board members that are not. So we're not going to be able to come to any type of a consensus or agreement today because we have 2 board members that are saying they want more.
So this is a pretty
Okay,
good
This is
as
an
long as
option,
we-
this is an option for giving them more if both candidates are willing to do a forum.
Right.
Soon
and
can we
that's-
find that out?
We're dry and we're
Sandy,
very indecisive.
Sandy, can you check with those candidates and see if they would be willing to do a town hall?
I'm checking right now as you guys are discussing.
And if we can possibly get it set up for maybe in the next few days or Monday at the latest, and then we can come back.
And my recommendation is if you did something like that, that you definitely are on point, that you want to do it sooner than later.
Correct.
Because, and so then if you've got somebody who wants to be, I think I heard Ms. McCall said there's already somebody who's offered to be the moderator, and then I would suggest that we have community submit questions, and we could have that moderator be present right there in the boardroom by themselves. For that matter, we can bring the candidates in virtually to have the
Can't be
questions
here,
that the
but we
community
could do it
submitted
at the
ahead of time.
It cannot be in our boardroom, but it can be at the CEP boardroom.
Certainly. Okay.
So if they're willing to hang in there for a few more days, I'm sure we can get this wrapped up within 7 or 8 days. Today is Wednesday, the 8th, and then we can go ahead and notice meetings for next week and conclude this.
Let's see how soon CEP can get it set up.
I think they'll prioritize it.
Have a discussion set for next Wednesday.
So then that
It was already on the books.
It's already on and advertised.
So that means we could come back and do what we did. I don't think it would be a long meeting.
No.
I think it would be very short.
Right.
Based on the information we would get from the town hall.
Trying to still hear from Dr. Gull. Let's see. I apologize, I was on mute. So I haven't heard from both people yet, so can we give you a tentative that we'll move forward, and then I'll get back with you, Reverend Cummings?
Yes. Are both of these guys up for other districts?
One is.
No, Dr. Gullett told you that this is the only position she's applied for, and Dr. Morrison, yes, is up for another district.
Sandy,
That's why time is of the essence, I would suggest.
That's why I think that if we move, if we move expeditiously on this, that we could wrap this up by next Wednesday.
Sandy, what I would like to do is, can we do a recess so we can call the candidates?
Oh, you want 5-10 minute recess?
Yeah, let's do about 10 minutes.
Okay, we'll recess for 10 minutes. We're going to recess at 3:01, reconvene at 3:11. We're back from our recess. Sandy, are you available?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I apologize for the delay, but we were trying to reach both applicants and then trying to explain what's going on and explain that there was a change in the process as they knew it. So, but I am pleased to report that at this time both of them will participate in the community forum that you're looking for.
Okay. We got Mr. Shealy here from our CEP. I'm going to ask him to come forward and kind of work with you and give you a idea of what they can do.
Can we move that up any so he's in the camera view? Okay, so they can hear you, but they can't see you, Kevin.
Well, a lot of people want that. Hi, Kevin Shealy, Ocala, Marion County Chamber and Economic Partnership, 310 Southeast 3rd Street, Ocala. The CEP, as I've explained to the board members and to you all, would be happy to host a Zoom community forum. I've got our team they're sending me emails and ideas back and forth on how to do this and how to do it as expeditiously as we can for both the candidates and for the board. I guess a couple questions for you. Do you have a recommended format? In other words, do we do one candidate and the other? Do we do them simultaneously? What are your thoughts on that?
Certainly. I would suggest that we have one candidate separately, and then we'll have an allotted amount of time if it's, depends on how many questions we have. If it's 15 minutes, if it's 20 minutes, it's 30 minutes. And then you'll have the questions. Community can submit questions to you prior to the Zoom, and then the candidates can respond, and whatever questions we ask the first candidate, we will ask the second candidate.
Would you encourage or suggest that we'll have prepared questions, obviously, from the community? Should we allow people to ask questions that evening or during the forum?
I would say, due to the fact that we're doing the virtual forum, I would have those questions prepared for you so that you as a facilitator will have those questions listed, and we can have it'll be a smoother flow.
Do you have other suggestions for where you've seen other forums?
Right. The unusual thing with this, it's not like you'll have everybody as a group because we can't meet together. So they'll just need to submit their questions ahead of time to you so that you have them.
Okay.
So Sandy,
and I can work with you, Kevin, offline too.
Absolutely.
To help iron out, our kinks with that. And Reverend Cummings said, I hear you say that you thought you could do this, or that I guess Kevin too, that we could pull this off for Friday.
I think we can for Friday. I was looking at texts and emails from my team and some of my board members, and they all are pushing. They'd like to do it tomorrow, but I'm going to push for Friday. So
I'm all about tomorrow, but we have to be able to let community get the questions to you also.
Exactly.
So Sandy, I was on a Zoom conference. Actually, I was a presenter, and the people were able to ask questions in the chat box, and then a staff member was gathering those questions, and some of them were the same. So I don't know if that's a possibility at all.
We can have that available. I think we need to have some of the questions that people have submitted ahead of time.
Absolutely.
So that we know that Kevin's prepared in the event that either A, we don't get as many questions as we want. And I think the critical thing is we need to ask the same questions to each candidate so they're treated equitably.
Keep it fair.
Right.
So if we did the chat box,
Right.
whatever questions that got asked in that chat box, that one person needs to go to the other candidate as well.
So,
but that would only work for the first candidate, because if someone came up with a question, the second
different
one, then they would.
So we don't want to do that.
So we would just take questions prior to the forum.
Do that. Do you have an idea? And again, this will be a little different because we're not in person. A time of day. I'm thinking if we're going to do Friday, thinking about all the things that we would do late afternoon, early evening, but does that sound?
Ain't no football games.
Yeah, there's nothing else. Not like anybody's got plans. They're not going out to eat. They're not going to a show.
Right. Right.
We could actually bill it that way. Something to do for your Friday evening.
5 p.m.
That's kind of the board's pleasure. I would suggest, Kevin, are you okay with evening, or would it be better to do late afternoon?
I'm fine with evening. That won't be any problem for us.
We had the most response for when we've been talking about doing evening work sessions. 5 o'clock seemed to be the magic time.
The only thing I would do is I would probably push it back just a little bit for those who are still working to have a chance to get home and be ready. But
5:30, 6 o'clock.
yeah,
6. Let's shoot
good point.
6. Let's shoot for 6.
6?
5:30, am I hearing?
6.
6.
Give people a chance to get home, get settled.
How long should this go, Sandy?
I would recommend, per candidate, between
An hour.
15 to 30 minutes, an hour per candidate.
An hour is too much.
I agree.
30
Oh,
minutes.
So-
30 minutes.
But I don't
30
know if
minutes
you can-
max.
But we interviewed them that long, almost that long, so I think that we gotta get enough, 45 minutes, let's split it, let's don't just do 30 and.
I think the other thing is you want to keep people, but you also want to keep the audience engaged.
30 minutes.
30 minutes is the length of Lassie. That's not very, that was just like that,
But I think Kevin brings up a good point, that you do want to keep our community engaged. So if they know that it's a 30-minute and a 30-minute, so they X out an hour all total for them.
Time, yeah.
But they would have to
think
make
that makes
like
it wise.
like each answer would need to be like a 2-minute response or something, or else it could we could burn 2 questions and.
Like you do in a typical
And we
forum,
can
you have a
set that
certain
up for
amount
like
of
a,
time to respond to the
We'll encourage them to
2-minute
be
response.
efficient with their
answers.
answers.
Are we saying 30 minutes for both candidates or 30 minutes apiece?
30 minutes each,
So an hour.
an hour.
If we don't
Yeah.
time the response, then we won't get to ask everybody the questions.
Right.
If one person.
We can do that, and we can help them understand. Here's how, especially if we know going in, we have 15 questions.
Right.
And so there's part of it is incumbent upon that candidate to help manage their time with their answers.
Now,
And we'll do that. We'll make sure we have a clock or something.
my
Help 'em.
question,
I'd say
my
give 'em.
question to you, Kevin, is how are you going to get these questions from the community? Is there going to be some email that they need to submit them to, or how would they submit the questions?
I think probably the easiest thing to do is, first off, how are we going to get the word out? We'll take full advantage of all the social media. As we've just discovered with another campaign we're running, the Get, Gather, Go on the Paychecks Protection Program, we've reached 30,000 people, 30,000 active engaged viewers just on Facebook in the last week.
Right.
So we know we can connect with people pretty quickly. So we'll share out using that, and I'm sure the school system will share that out. But I think it's very easy for us to create a page on ocalacep.com where people can go submit your question. We can also then put a link to social media.
Would there be a deadline on when they can submit these questions?
So if we're going to do this Friday, I think what we would probably do is ask them to have it maybe about 2 o'clock. That way our team has a chance to go through them, find the duplicates, scrub them a little bit for ones that aren't appropriate. And
Good. And Kevin, you would be able to get this on our site, this district site as well.
And if folks submit questions to us, then we would just forward them to you.
But we're only going to have 15 questions out of like 30,000 people. We'll have 15, so y'all have to really gear it down because you might.
I would imagine you'll see a lot of the questions that start to become very
Redundant.
similar.
They'll be redundant.
A lot of them will be duplicates, maybe
I know
just
that it
stated a
won't be-
different way.
100 double.
Will they have, say, 2 minutes to introduce themselves?
Yeah, I think just in a typical forum.
Okay.
And I think here's what we do is we set that time limit, but we also give a little bit of flexibility within that. And just so you know, my intent, and I haven't asked him yet, is probably have Tom James from our team serve as the moderator.
I'm afraid if we don't really gear down to let them know where they're at time-wise, we're going to end up, somebody's going to get 10 questions, somebody's going to get 15.
Well, I think we can work on a countdown clock that's available to them to see.
That's what they need.
And maybe just a 1-minute introduction so that we use as much time as possible for the.
Absolutely. And we could post, I'm sure we can coordinate to get to get a little bio on each candidate that we can go ahead and post that people can see and be looking at beforehand.
I was going to say that I think most people that are going to be paying attention have probably done their research.
Already.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
To your point,
So
I think the
just
people who really
shared
care will know.
Sandy and Kevin's phone numbers with each other so that they can have that connection.
Sandy, you have any questions for Kevin or for us? So we.
No, I think I'm clear on your expectations, and I'll work with Kevin. I have
So-
his number too.
Okay, so the plan is that the CEP is going to hold a town hall for the community on this Friday from 6 to 7,
Virtually.
virtual town hall from 6 to 7. And both of the candidates have agreed to participate in this town hall.
What will it be televised on?
It'll be on Zoom.
So what I think we can do, and that's one of the things I've got our team looking at, is there's a couple different ways that we can then broadcast that. So I'm having them look at what's the best way to do that.
I mean, what room, where would you do this? Where would this be held at?
So I'm trying to think through all that logistics piece as quickly as I can, excuse me. I think what we'll do is, I think what will work, Kevin, if you have any ideas, I'd appreciate them. I think we'll Zoom into our large conference room and then broadcast that out. We could either do it as a Facebook Live event so people can access it that way.
What about YouTube? Because they're used to going to YouTube to watch.
We do a lot, yeah. For you all, we do a lot of YouTube. There's a couple different that we do, so I think that's where I got to get with my communications people. They'll have better ideas. I start saying things, and they're like, "That's not how this works."
Is the room big enough for a few of us if we wanted to come to sit in and watch this?
Yes, and that's the other thing I thought about that room is.
Not been advertised.
Sorry.
I get that. But is it big enough?
If that room holds 40, it is, I would argue,
You only
larger.
have 10.
Right.
Yes, you only have 10.
To have-
But there is room for some public participation, whatever that looks like, as we figure that piece out.
Then we're getting down to then who are the 10 that get to come in. I think it's better if we're going to
I
do
think the school
virtual.
board needs to stay out.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't. I want to observe it.
I know
So
it, but then we-
if
then
nobody,
we would
if
say we
nobody
want
else
to
wants to go, I'll be the one board member that can go.
I don't think we all can go.
Right.
Because we will be
Right.
making a decision on these two
Right.
candidates. So
Right.
we can't be in the same room
Together.
together.
I agree. That's why I asked the question. I didn't say the whole board had to go. But if one of us wants.
I do think, Reverend Cummings, as chair, that would make sense for you to be there.
Right.
and that's fine as far as,
Okay, Kevin, thank you so much.
Our pleasure.
Clean up
Again,
Very quickly.
as we've talked numerous times, partnerships is what allows our community to be successful, and we're happy to carry that all the way through.
Mr. Shealy, thank you. Thank
pleasure.
you, CP, for your willingness to pull this up for us. And then as a board, we will come back on next Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock. Is that the correct time?
Did you hear that, Sandy?
that's what we already.
Yep, we
We
heard
already
it.
have that scheduled.
It's already scheduled that was going to be the final discussion for this anyway. So actually, we're still
Okay.
on schedule. We're not off schedule.
That's the 15th of April.
That's
Great.
April the
Perfect.
15th.
15th.
And we'll convene at 9 o'clock
So
on.
I have a question about the town hall. So the purpose is for people to ask questions, but then what do we do with that information? What do we do with, are we letting them say, I prefer this candidate to this candidate? What are we doing with that? It's strictly just a town hall. Is that correct?
You are the people that vote. My understanding is you want this so that community can see these people further and that they get a chance to view both candidates. You're going to watch it from wherever you are remotely, and it gives you another data point. But you are the people that vote. I don't
No, I
think you want to
understand that.
extend that.
Okay,
out
but
to others.
we're not going to see the people, since it's going to be done virtually, and you're going to ask the questions ahead of time instead of the people asking the questions. So what are we going to glean from this?
We may hear a question that came from the community that we did not ask, or something. We may get some more information that could help push us one way or the other, based on what the community has heard.
And if I may, I would argue the other piece is, not are you going to hear from that, but then you will, I am sure, hear individually from the community. Here is what I heard. You're very fortunate, as a community, very fortunate. It appears we have two very good candidates. They'll be able to share what insights they have from their unique perspective that may be of value to you as you make that decision.
And we would encourage them to reach out to us.
I don't think this is going to hurt the process. I think this is just, it's more of an enhancement for us to make a better decision. Sandy, you there?
Go ahead.
Are you there? So we're good where we're going, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then next Wednesday we'll come back, and I guess next Wednesday will be the date that it's wrapped up.
Yep,
with the board members. Y'all consensus with that?
Yes.
And none of the other, neither candidate has, like the other, Dr. Morrison doesn't have any other interviews coming up this week or anything with another district, right? Because I was thinking there was a real close interview that he had with another district about this same time. We did. Never mind. Mr. Cummings just answered it.
Okay.
Please thank both candidates, too, for their flexibility, and it's appreciated.
Certainly, I will do so.
All right.
One more point of clarification, Reverend Cummings. Did we decide for sure? Are we going to try to stick with the platform of YouTube for the Friday night thing, so we're consistent with what your other meetings are published, or we don't know?
Let me confirm with our team, and then I will confirm with you.
Sounds great.
I've never done the YouTube because I've been on the board all the time.
So,
Never listened to it on the YouTube. I don't
so
know where to go.
Mr. Christian, we will be able to put something on our page, our district page, advertising this.
I will get with Mr. Shealy, and I think we can, because this is an event that is not a school board event, but certainly is of community interest, we can consider that public affairs programming, which would be appropriate on the Marion Education Channel and on our YouTube channel. So I think we can make that happen.
I think that we can make it happen. And then, Nicole, we've already have Wednesday scheduled to come back for consensus. We would also need to put something on the docket for the next board meeting to come back for a vote. Am I saying that right, guys?
That's right, because we can't vote at work
We can't
sessions.
vote at the work session.
All we can do is consensus.
Right.
Have a consensus, so
Right, and that's-
we'll have a decision consensus by next Wednesday. And then the following board meeting, we need to go ahead and put that on the agenda for now, so that we'll make sure that we're voting. Is that the next school board meeting after?
After the 15th.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you can just put a placeholder. Can't you just do that?
We can actually put it on there, Karen.
Yeah, I would go ahead and advertise, vote on.
We can go ahead and advertise it because we are saying right now that it's going to be a consensus.
Is there any chance that we could meet sooner? I mean, would this qualify as an emergency item, knowing that both these candidates are
Waiting.
waiting?
And have a
Actual board meeting then.
have an
28th.
emergency board meeting or emergency
Put
work
it on
session.
the 28th.
Emergency board meeting to be able to meet and vote earlier than the 28th.
Let me look into that and tell you all in the morning.
Because the sooner the better, once the forum is over with.
How soon are you talking about?
We would have to advertise 7 days.
Just to honor the candidates as much as we can. Their time.
The candidate, whomever gets it, will know next Wednesday
With the consensus.
with the
True.
consensus.
True.
So,
Just for the, the solid vote will be a relief, I'm sure.
I'll look at, I don't know if it can come under an emergency, but I can look and let you know in the morning.
Okay. And if not, then what you said.
So we can go ahead and advertise it.
I thought it was anything that the board agreed by consensus was an emergency, you could do an emergency for. I thought that was the
I
guideline.
agree with that. I just like to take a look at it and not tell y'all something off the top without taking a double look.
So if that's the case, you want to have an emergency meeting to vote?
I don't have a
It's
problem
not,
with
I
that.
don't even see it as an emergency if we have a consensus. I
I
mean,
don't see it as an emergency.
Some people just don't look at a consensus as like, that can still be changed, to
Right.
plan their life around it.
Right. That's my only.
Especially if there's other openings out there that's going on and other things they need to
Right,
qualify
right.
for. I don't mind having a special call meeting just for this, because I feel like, because they were supposed to know next Tuesday. That was the plan. And they're not now.
No, it's always been on the date I have is.
It was always on the
15th.
28th?
Yes.
The 15th was when we were discussing, when we thought we
Final
had 3
discussion.
candidates to interview.
Oh, I thought we were doing that today. I mean, I thought that's what we were doing today. Okay.
Not, on the timeline, y'all were discussing
Yeah.
next week, final conversation.
Okay.
Right.
and put on-
Okay, then never mind. Then, okay.
Yeah, I've got it at 9 o'clock on the 15th.
Okay. We good with all those things?
I think we're good.
So you're just
Sandy?
double checking and then we'll even know if it's an option.
Sandy, we good?
I think we're all set.
I'm sure Dr. Morrison and I'm sure Dr. Gullett are both listening. Listen, both of you candidates are excellent candidates, are great candidates. We just want to do our due diligence and make sure that we're doing the right thing for the district. We appreciate both of you, and I think both of you are top notch. Personally, I think both of you are top notch, and whichever one we get, we're going to work with you, and we're going to make sure that Marion County does become the best district in the state. So I don't think we're going to lose with either one of you, to be honest with you. So, Ms. McCall, you got anything?
No, I'm done.
Ms. Thor?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Stacy? Ms. King? All right. There being no other business to discuss, we're going to adjourn this meeting at 3:51 p.m.